Hello everyone, and this is episode 110 of Double Cross Anime. We back again this week for reviewing two family friendly anime films, which is Okko Inc. back in 2018 and Summer Day with Cruise back in 2007, and we're gonna doing another volume of Pluto, volume 6. So I'm Mario, and with me here is Whooper.
Hello.
All right, so let's get started.
Just finished my banana.
Which one do you like to discuss first, Whooper?
You're doing the intro. That's up to you. I thought
All
both
right,
films were pretty good, so we can start with either one.
all right, that's good to hear. I think I prefer one film than another. We go with my watch list first. Then I watched Okko 2 days ago first, so let's go with that.
Okay, that was also the one that I watched first.
All right. I think I watched first just because of the length.
Yeah, Summer Days with Ku is considerably longer, like 45 minutes longer, I think.
Overlong, I would say.
You think so?
I would say so. Yes,
All
but
right, we'll get there.
let's get to Okko first. Before watching the movie, I don't know if you remember, but back when Okko the movie was announced, they have like a TV shot of
Yeah,
Okko by Macau as well.
yeah.
I watched the first episode of that shot, and I didn't like it at all.
Why is that?
It's just because like the tone that they trying to say was just all over the place for me. We get like the sad story of Okos who's like just lost her parents, and then like at the end of that episode, she saw a ghost, and then she's just like they have like on the really like child uh kiddie tour of like they're just having fun, and it's just like a total whiplash for me. So I didn't
How
really
long
like
are
it.
those episodes? How long is the short?
10 minutes.
That is difficult. That's difficult to do in that short amount of time.
Yeah,
But I
I
mean,
know,
the
but
film takes not a similar approach necessarily because obviously it has more time to work with, but
mhm.
we get the car accident. That's near the start of the film.
Yep, yep.
Actually, is that the first scene? Her in the car with her family?
Yeah, that was no. The first scene was her watching the dance, the traditional dance with the
Yes, you're
families.
right. Which becomes becomes very important later when she becomes a
Yep,
participant
yep,
in the,
yep.
in that
But
dance.
I actually like the ending as well. That's the ends.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
it's bookended that way.
yeah, that's right.
Um, Summer Days with Ku is also bookended, actually, but we'll get
Was
there.
it?
Yeah, it is.
All right.
Yeah, so
No, no,
Inoko's
no.
in. It's the second scene, I guess, where she's in the car on the way home from the festival
Mm-hmm.
with her parents, and then the car accident happens. But I guess the point that I'm driving at is the next scene is her, going to live with her grandmother, right at the end,
That's right. That's right.
and she's not crying, she's not sad because there's been a
Mm-hmm.
time skip, and she
Yep.
hasn't yet processed her grief.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
assume that what the short was going for was a situation in which this tragedy befalls her, and then, as in the film here, and probably as in the novel series, because originally
Mm-hmm.
Okozin was a series of children's novels.
Yep.
She doesn't, she doesn't crumble and fall into tears immediately
Mm-hmm.
because she's still so young. The fact of her parents' disappearance and death does not register right away.
Which I actually really like the way that they do it in the movies.
Yeah.
It's like see the like the death of their parent. It doesn't really like resist to her like most of the time, but sometimes when it hits really hard. And
Yes.
I just really appreciate that like it had like some real like raw feeling going on there about her have to like facing and eventually overcome with the death of her parents.
Yeah, which happens, I think, in the third act.
Yep.
Because this film is somewhat segmented.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
it does feel as though it's split into different sections and different stories based on which guests are staying at the inn.
Yep. How do you find that approach?
I thought
You
it was
like it?
mixed. I thought it was
Mix. All right.
mixed.
All right.
Because this is Oko's film,
Yep.
or at least it should be. But
Mm.
when it's split into time based not on uh, Oko's experience, but based on you know, the
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 guest.
situation at the inn and the
Right.
lives of the people who are staying there. I mean, Oko is significant in all of their stories, and we
Mm.
do track her growth and her maturation across the whole film.
Mm.
But it doesn't feel all the time as though she's the one carrying it.
Yep.
So, not a bad thing. It's just perhaps different from what I expected,
Mm.
and I wasn't always a fan. For example, the second act, which is the one with the fortune teller, who I thought at first was a model.
I love it.
That
I love her.
that I thought that was probably the weakest part of the film,
Yep.
uh,
Well,
because it definitely seemed to be about the model, and Oko was like along for the ride.
yeah. But like if you remember like in the middle of the drive, she was having an episode.
Yeah,
She
she
was
had a
ha-
panic attack. Yes.
yeah, and I think that again like like still speak to her character, like struggle of the movie of like the whole things. She still have to face like her grief.
Right.
So I think it's still great, and I just love the fortune teller ladies. She just she amazing.
I thought the film got kind of weirdly sexy
All right, all
during
right.
the bathing scene. There was like a lot of emphasis on her movement in the
Yep.
hot spring, like going
Yeah.
multiple times back and forth between her original position and then swimming over to where Oko is waiting and then going back and then going back. Like, I thought that
All
was a
right.
little incongruous with this being a
That's right.
children's film because, like, between the two of these films that we watch for this podcast, Oko's In is definitely the more. This is a
Mature.
film for children, I think.
Mm. Yeah,
Uh,
that's right.
and I mean, it's very instructional and educational for children too. I think because it teaches kids how to deal with grief and how
Yep.
to work hard and how to love others.
Yep.
And there's a very clear moral as well, which Oko repeats multiple times throughout the film, which is that the inn where she's working, it turns away no one.
Hmm.
Everyone is welcome and accepted, and like that's like for the kids. That's for the kids. This is the lesson you ought to take away, and it's a beautiful lesson, but this is a film for children. So like the model being like, swimming around, that
All
was a
right.
little weird.
Yeah. All right. I can see that. I can see that. I have a bit, like a bit of an issue with the segmental formula as well, because I do think that it feel like a condensed version of like of the whole thing. So we just see like just a little bit of everything, and I do feel like if they allow time for many of the segmental segment a bit more developed, they're gonna be singing more. But at the same time, though, I think they're doing a really good job to like string everything together in 90 95 minutes.
Well, I
I
mean,
think they're
if you
doing a good job actually.
yeah, it was good. I was never lost. I was
Mhm.
never disengaged. I don't think. But if you take a segmented approach like that and then you lengthen all of the segments, you don't have a film anymore. You have a television series. You have a
Yeah,
series of
that's
episodes.
true. Yep, that's right.
So the hybrid approach, I think it worked.
Yep. How do you like the ghost? There are three of them.
Yeah, we have Uribo, which is the first one. That's
Yep.
the grandmother's childhood friend.
Yep.
And then we have Mio, who
Hmm.
is Frilly. I don't remember Frilly Pink's name. Do you remember her name?
All right, let's meet. I have the name here, Matsuki Akino.
Matsuki.
Yeah, Matsuki.
Okay, Matsuki's sister, her older sister.
Hmm.
And then the third one, I don't think was a ghost. He was a demon or a
Demon.
yokai,
Yep.
and I can't remember his name, but
Suzuki.
he was cool. What was it?
Suzuki.
Oh, Suzuki. Okay, yes, he was the sweets loving, um, strong personality, customer attracting devil
Yeah.
guy.
Yep.
He was great. I thought all of them were great. You know,
Hmm.
I thought that Uribo, the fact that he hung around at the inn and watched over,
Yep.
uh, the grandmother. I thought that was sweet.
I thought that was a bit creepy when you think hard about it.
Really? Why? I mean, because there's not like a leering sense
Be
to it. I don't think.
Yeah, just because they are just they were best friend. They was like nothing more. They were in love or anything, and then in order for him to die, and then he died when she already went away,
Well,
and
only
then
days afterwards, I
yeah, only
think.
days after world, right? Let's say, and then he been follow her since then. It kind of creepy.
Okay,
And watch
I didn't get that sense at all.
and watch over her for like 70 years already.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
his soul is tied to her. I think like that's not something he can. I don't know if that's something he controls,
yeah, all right.
and that's why he also saves her granddaughter. I kind of doubt that in that
Mm-hmm.
moment he understood like what he was doing. Really, I think that was kind of like a fated thing.
Yeah, yeah, all right.
And I
That's
mean, it's at one point, I think he says, "I love you,"
to
right?
to the grandma.
Yeah, because she's showing her photo album to Okko,
Yep, yep.
and she says something along the lines of like, I don't know, I can't remember what she says, but she says, I really loved him," or "We were really
Uh-huh.
close," or something like that, and then he says, me too,"
Oh
as
yeah,
he's
well,
like phasing through the wall or something,
all
moving
right.
away.
It's not an expression of love.
I mean, my sub said, I think somewhere in that conversation, my sub said, "I love you." But
All right. Yep,
kids in Japan can use the word "suki," and it doesn't have to mean
yep,
like sexual love.
yep,
You can
yep,
say
yep. All
"ski"
right.
about something like your favorite food, daisuki.
Yep, yep. Um, for that, I think that at the beginning, Uribo growth um is vital. But then, at the end of the film, his role is a bit like faded.
Yeah, and I think that's intentional because she
Hmm.
stops seeing him as frequently. Oko.
Rely on them. But yeah, yeah, true. And I think that actually really sad. That's like one of the emotional thing for me. That she
Yeah,
can't see the ghost anymore.
yeah. And there's yeah. I mean, the saddest part is clearly when she realizes that Kise-san, the man who's been in the hospital
Yeah.
who needs like food prepared very particularly so he can taste it.
Hmm.
When
Was
she
running.
realizes that he is her parents' killer,
Yeah.
yeah, and she runs out into the hallway and she's like screaming and crying for Uribo and Mio, and she can't see them.
Hmm.
That's when it becomes like really sad that they're
Yeah.
drifting apart.
Yeah.
But I actually have a question about the fact that
Hmm.
Kisei, like, I I remember in that second scene, when they're in the car,
Hmm.
wasn't there like a big 18 wheeler, like a huge truck that burst out in front of them, and that's what caused the crash?
So, all right. Second scene. From what I remember, there was like so there was like a coming car coming to them, and I think like Okko she fly out of her car to that truck, and she fall into that truck.
Well, she doesn't fly out. Uribo carries her out.
All right, right, yeah, yeah,
He's the
yeah.
one who saves her.
Yeah, we didn't know that at the time, but it does seem that yeah, she was like in on top of the truck, so like a truck behind them. I think I'm not really sure about that.
Okay, I'm looking at the scene right now. Actually, I have it muted.
All right, all right, enlighten me, man.
Okay, so I see. Wait, what? All right, I'm watching the film. I see some sort of yeah, a massive. Okay, it's not an 18 wheeler, but it's an 8-wheel truck. You know, like a big truck that like drives across the country carrying
Hmm.
all sorts of goods. It bursts in front of them, and then there's a crash.
All right. So he was driving that truck.
No, he was with his family, wasn't he? Oh, was he
No, no,
driving
no,
that
no.
truck? Is that what happened? He's
I
a
think
truck
he was.
driver.
Yeah, I think he was a truck driver, and he
Oh,
tried to get away from like a two crashing car behind, in front of him. So he just like turn into that lane. That's what he said.
yeah, that's what he said. But that doesn't. I just watched the scene, and that doesn't match what happened at all. So that's kind of weird.
I think it match. Like he getting away from the accident behind him, so he turned into like the opposing lanes, and that's why he hit Okko's car,
But
Okko parents' car,
Oko's car hits the truck,
that truck.
the big, massive truck. Yes.
Yeah, he was driving a truck, I think.
Okay. All right. I mean,
Yeah, whatever.
that's not what he describes when he talks about the accident. I don't think, but whatever.
All right.
That distracted me. Like during that scene when he was talking about they were talking about the fact that he was the killer, and like he describes the accident. All during that scene, which is supposed to be like really emotional, and she's realizing what he's saying, like the significance of what he's saying, and then the reality of her parents' death is starting to hit her. I was thinking,
Uh,
wait, that doesn't. That's not what I saw. I just watched that like 1 hour ago. That's not what happened.
all right. You being
But
too
I
hard
was
for the
still,
film.
I still felt how upset Okko was, and I still think that the scene worked.
Yeah. You are too hard for the film. Too
I'm
harsh.
too hard, too harsh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's a
mean, I
too
would
much.
say if indeed it is an inconsistency, and I mean, I would have to go back and listen to what he says in that, like the dialogue in that scene. If
Yeah.
it is an inconsistency, it's a really big one because it's the moment of her parents' death. Like
Hmm.
that's got to be correct. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I guess whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
we talked about Uribo, and then I guess my favorite of the ghosts was probably Mio.
I love Mio as well.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me why you like her.
Okay, I'll tell you my favorite Mio moment.
Right.
It is a little conversation that she's having with Okko after Okko has returned from school,
Yep.
and Mio is worried about her grades because Okko's brought home her report card,
Yep. Hmm.
and Mio's like, "Let me see if I can find it." She returns the report card to her backpack, and closes
Yep.
the flap of the backpack, and then floats it gently over to the little hook on her desk.
Yep.
She's like putting everything very carefully back into its right place because academics are very important to her. And the reason that's such an important detail is because you can see the connection in that moment between Mio and Matsumi, her younger
Mm.
sister, who is also like academically inclined.
Yep.
So you see the familial link between those two.
Wow. All right. It's just a bit sad that for two things that we don't really know the cause of Mio death. I think like in the manga or something, or in the maybe in the short series, we will know more about her. The reason why she passed away. And the second thing is actually Matsuki had never indirect. contact with Mio because Mio died before she was born.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, I think like at one point Masuki mentioned that the fact.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't remember whether they had ever
yep,
whether they were alive at the same time or what the circumstances of her death were.
yeah,
But I did really like that the scene in the spring where the two
yep.
girls were purifying themselves before the ritual.
All right, was that what that means? All right,
Yeah,
all
it's a
right.
purification ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and she says, and I thought it was really great that
Yeah,
I can't remember. Is it Matsuki with a K?
Masuki with the K. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Where Matsuki says, um, I've heard a voice before.
yeah,
Uh, because that's it's the two girls alone, and
mm-hmm.
Matsuki doesn't feel any pressure as in that moment, I suppose, as like the inheritor of her family's inn,
Yep, yep.
or
And
she doesn't feel any pressure to be like the number one student or to uphold her role at school, anything like that. She
she
just
doesn't even have like her pink dress with her. Maybe that's why.
right, yeah. She's not wearing the frilly pink dress, so it sapped all her her
Yep,
pinfooty powers away. Yeah, but she confesses that she's heard a voice,
yeah,
um, and
Uh,
and Mio is there to hear that,
yeah,
which I thought was very sweet.
yeah. I thought that as well, and the way that Mio just tell Okko that like just to keep silent
Right?
about
Yeah,
her
she
being
she
in
puts
there.
her finger over her lips. Yeah,
Yeah, that's just great. That's a great moment.
yeah. It actually that scene, all three participants in that scene, both the two humans and the ghost,
Hmm.
Mio, like it strengthens the relationship between all three of them.
That's right. That's right.
Because Mio is able to hear the from her sister's own lips that she has felt the connection between them.
Hmm.
Um, Okko is able to witness that and is able to help by
Hmm.
by not saying anything. She allows Mio to experience that moment in her own way, and
Yep.
then Matsuki is able to share that with a friend, someone
Yep.
who slowly over the course of the film, I suppose, she
Yep.
becomes friends with because they are antagonists for a good portion of the film. I thought that
That's right.
the turnaround was going to happen sooner than it did,
Yep.
but I think in the end they played that card at the correct
Yep.
moment.
I watched a bit more of like episode 2 and 3 of the TV series, and I saw Matsuki mom, someone that like the film totally omit, and I think that's a good decision not to include her mom in here because like it would distract the story.
It could, but her mom could also be like a very bossy and kind of strict woman, and that could give you some
Yeah.
insight into Matsuki's character, like why she carries herself the way she does.
Yep. I
Do
I
we
just
see
I
who do we see from Matsuki's family? Do we see her grandma maybe?
Nah, we no, we don't. We actually
Re-
just see like her bodyguards or like her co-workers.
yeah, I guess they are coworkers. Yeah, the
Yeah, we
staff, the hired help at the
yeah the
inn.
staff.
Yeah.
We don't see like any of her real family there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that decision can also work because then you get the sense that she's shouldering a lot of the burden
Yep,
herself.
yep.
Um, yeah, and I mean, it isn't Matsuki's film. It's Oko's film.
Yeah,
So
true.
yeah, it
Um,
worked. They did good work with her character, with
well,
Matsuki's
if
character.
if I have a bit of the complaint about Okko's, I feel like the first like when she get into the work of the ink it's a bit too fast like she learn all the activities she learn like all these uh all the housework that what she have to do and we do get a bit of a sense that she like first don't she doesn't really get used to the place yet and second she doesn't really like being a junior master. I think that's what they call. Yet.
Like a junior innkeeper or junior hostess, or I can't remember the word.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Innkeeper or
Waka
something.
Okami because
All right.
Pinfuri calls her Baka Okami.
Yeah, yeah, all right. And for me, it just a bit too quickly. Like we just got like a bit of like montage of what she does for like just a few minutes before like the first act kick in.
Yeah, so we do see the montage. We see that she's clumsy because we see like 4 or 5 different scenes of her tripping and falling and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
That's right. That's
And
right.
then after that, I guess we get the first guest, the first like really significant guest, which is
Mm.
the son, like the father who's a writer, and gives
Yep.
their inn a glowing review
Mm-hmm.
eventually, and then the son who is sick.
Yep.
Um, and of the 3 arcs, I think theirs is the shortest, if I'm remembering
That's right.
correctly. And yeah, and I think it's actually because of the shortness of that arc, because like he's the son is of course upset. His mother has passed away. He's very rude. He's inconsiderate because he's only thinking of himself, as you
Mm-hmm.
would expect. And then, you know, I can't remember how is that resolved exactly. She tries to get him some cake. That doesn't
Yeah.
work. So
Hey.
she makes him the pudding, and
Yep.
then he doesn't eat that right
Yep.
away. And then
Yep.
after that, are they friends again? Like, what exactly was the turning point there? What was it?
The turning point is the next day that the boy he's after eating the pudding he feel like he want to go to school back again, so they yeah so
Yeah, that's a little thin. I think that might be why it seems like Okko gets accustomed to life at the inn too quickly, is because that first guest's problem was resolved in that way.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I think it was okay,
yeah,
but
all right,
there was much more, especially to the third one where there was all the cooking, and she had to go talk to
yeah.
Matsuki about like specific diets and then come back with this information and
Mhm.
yada yada yada.
All right. I think like from our conversation I just like pick out all these film flaws because I just think that like apart from these things I really enjoy the movies. So and as a kid film, after children film, family oriented film, I think it did a really good job. Like
Yeah,
I would definitely like if I had my children I would definitely give him or her a watch of this one.
yeah. I mean, I think in particular this film is could be important to show to children who are dealing with the loss of a loved one,
Yep.
because it is.
Mm,
I do think it is instructional.
yep. Mm,
They can kind of follow along with Oko, and I'm sure that when they when they get to the moment where she realizes who Kisei is exactly, uh, that they'll be crying right along with her. Um,
yep.
yeah, I mean it's a good film. I think you probably like it more than I do, because I do think
Yep.
this is a true children's film. I think like the terms children's film, kids film, and
Mm,
family friendly film are often misapplied and kind of
yep.
overextended to films that like families can watch together because there's no tits or anything.
All
But
right.
Oko's film is a film that truly is for children, and
Yep.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think as it exceeds
Mm,
expectations as a kids film.
yep. I think a pack of make of what make kids show or kid films work is that it had to be like you said inspirational. So it's more like it teach the kid how to like probably deal with some serious issue that they have to deal with.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think Okko Inc had that quality, so it make it like like the top one side, like in the top tier for kids show children films for me.
Yeah, and it's a good lesson to learn. I mean, you don't have to be dealing with loss to appreciate the film. I mean, it certainly helps. I'm sure
Right,
people who have very young children who've never lost anyone and never really encountered death on
yep,
that level will miss
and,
part of what the film has to offer. But it's also
but
a film about a girl who has to work hard and love her
and
neighbors,
and
and it's hard for her to do, but she learns how. And that's something
Yeah,
that every kid can benefit from.
and it's also about a girl who see friend who make friends and have to say goodbye to them.
Yeah, that's
like the
true.
yeah the scene in the end where she have to like have to say goodbye to the ghost, and she like really happy to to let them go. I think that's like one of the really powerful moments of the film as well.
Yeah, well, what I particularly like about the fact that she has to say goodbye, and
Yeah.
that like she's informed in advance by what's his name,
Uh,
Suzuki,
Suzuki.
that
Yep.
like the day of
Mm-hmm.
Uribo and Mio's disappearance, when she'll
Yep.
no longer be able to perceive them, is approaching, and she hears that and like doesn't really process it in that moment.
Mhm.
So I think that when she learns about the truth of her parents' death, or really feels it for the first time, and then she's crying out for Uribo and Mio, the
Yep.
fact of their like imminent departure compounds that tragedy, because the two people
Mhm.
who she would want to run to in that moment, she knows
Yep.
will not be here for much longer either. It's so like she's going to
Yep.
lose two more people who
Yep.
she's close to.
All right.
But what I really like about it, even more than that, is that the film ends with a celebration of their friendship
Yep.
in the dance, which is the final scene.
Yep.
And
That's right.
in by dancing with them, she's also fulfilling her mother's dream for her, which
Yep.
was to one day participate in that ritual.
Yep.
So I think that was honestly, I think that was the best. I think about that a lot when I watch films. Like, how could this have concluded differently, or how could this scene have played
Mhm.
out another way? And I think that
Yep.
the scene that we got at the end of Okko's Inn was the best possible conclusion for the film. I can't think of a better one.
Yep. I agree with you on that. One thing I want to clarify though, technically, that by dancing at the end of the movies, um, she will not perceive them anymore, or are they disappearing for good?
I mean, I don't know if at the like when they take the last step of the dance, if they disappear forever. I don't know what the timing is. I
Right.
just know that they're gonna
Mm.
they're gonna she won't be able to see them anymore very soon.
Yeah.
They're gonna What does Suzuki say? He says they're gonna go to heaven, right? Is that what he?
Yeah. I think that's the latter. So yes, they're
Yeah,
gonna go to heaven or something.
right.
They're gonna disappear.
Yeah,
Right.
and I mean, them dancing together is like,
Yep.
instead of, and I mean, she's moved past dwelling on the sadness of her parents' death. So we can assume, based on the fact that the film ends with a celebration, like a joyous event, that she has also moved past the sorrow of the
Mhm.
the fact that they're going to disappear, because she knows that they're going to a better place.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Good film.
yeah, it was
I
good.
think I think Madhouse did it again. Like,
Well, I
I
mean, I think DLE was the primary
is it
studio.
all right?
Yeah,
Because I'm just thinking, like Madhouse, they done any good show or anime lately?
plays
I don't
further than
think
the
so.
universe.
All right. Yeah, that's true. Uh, Poogie Pop and others. Yeah. No Guns Live from Madhouse. All right, we have Chiharafuru.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that much about for films, especially like for TV series. Sometimes I still like think
Mhm.
about the studio that's making it.
Yep.
But for films, I think much more than that. It's the top staff
Yep.
providing the guiding hand for the film that are going to really shape it.
Mhm. All right. All right. Shall we move on to the next movie?
Sure.
All right.
Summer Days
Summer
with
Day
Goo.
with Goose.
Yeah.
All
So
right. I.
this film,
Mhm.
definitely not as much of an anime film, I don't think. Like the
All right.
style of it.
Yep. All right. I
I was
agree with you on that.
was kind of reminded of Detroit Metal City, actually.
A, a bit, especially their facial expression, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Yep.
it seemed to me that there was some like postmodern Western influence on the art style of this film, which is very interesting because it concerns itself with Japanese mythology.
Hmm. Yeah, that's right. Um, the guy who directed it, he actually like he he also pretty famous for like making a feature length anime films.
Yeah, he directed Colorful,
Yep,
which I
that's right.
hated. That's one of my least favorite anime I've ever seen.
All right, but Mid Hokusai.
I did enjoy Miss Hokusai. Yeah,
Yep, and then
2015,
but
I think.
2015. That's right, and then Birthday Wonderland.
Yeah, I hadn't realized that Wonderland film was directed by this guy. I might want to check it out now, although it didn't
Yep,
look very interesting to me.
yep. Come back to Colorful. I actually didn't enjoy Colorful at all.
Yeah,
Like
neither did I. I hated it
so
actually.
yeah, so I actually like we I think we are in the minority on that one because
Yes.
apparently the people just love the meaningful message behind Colorful, and
I
I
actually thought
just
it was a very insensitive movie about suicide. I think
y-
it
yeah
took entirely the wrong tack.
approach. Yeah, yeah. All right. Now back to Summer David Cruz.
Yeah.
we here for that film. I
Yes.
thought it was a bit long. It was a bit too overlong for me.
Right. Yeah, you mentioned. It is it's a long film. Most animated films I would say are like, an hour and 30, an hour and 40.
Yep.
This one's 2 hours and 15.
Yep.
And personally, I thought I enjoyed every moment.
All right. That's good to hear.
Yeah,
I I, I
when I saw how long it was, I was like, I'm not gonna like this. I thought that to myself, and but I ended up enjoying it.
right. I feel the way that the film trying to attack the human curiosity is a bit too much.
I think it played
They
out exactly like it would have in real life, honestly.
all right, would they? All right.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Imagine because it's a like for Kappa specifically. Well, maybe not
Yep.
specifically, but for they're significant to Japan. Like I don't know, in Australia or in Vietnam, like any country that you have a connection to. Is there any sort of like legend or bit of folklore where
Yeah, yeah, we
if
do.
that creature appeared, like it
Yeah,
would send a shockwave throughout the entire country?
yeah, we do have some of them like Phoenix and Dragon, but they are like really powerful creatures, not like
Right.
Kappas.
Right. I mean, Kappa are. Can you imagine? Like this would be worldwide news.
Yep.
I'm actually surprised that there wasn't like that part.
Internationals.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there wasn't an element of the film where like Americans and I don't know Europeans and stuff like people are flooding Japan to get a look at this thing. Because apart from that, I think it did tackle the human discovery of this Kappa, like this mythical being who is now not so mythical anymore.
Yep.
It tackled it, I think, the way it would play out in real life. People are going to want to see it on TV. There are going to be people staking out the house,
Right.
and the film
I
does go into great detail, about that, and it doesn't portray humans in a very flattering light, and
Yeah.
it carries that unflattering light throughout the film.
Mhm.
Which can maybe contribute to the fact of it feeling so long, is that negativity is carried from the
Yeah.
point at which the world learns about Ku all the way to the end. Like
Yeah.
it's not as though there's some big moment where like when that big cloud forms over Tokyo Tower and the rain pours down, that's not like a cleansing moment for the film as a whole. People don't realize, oh, we've messed up by putting so much pressure and so much attention on this creature. We've messed up, and now this is a sign, and we need to change. That doesn't happen.
Mhm.
Um, you know.
I just think like poor Osans, who
Yeah. Oh
died
my God,
for
dude. The story of Osan, like his first owner, what
yeah,
happened to him,
yeah,
and then him returning to that memory as he dies, like wishing
yeah.
that he had stayed with his first owner and endured the beatings for
Mhm.
potentially the light on the other side. Dude, I
Yeah.
was crying.
All right. Wow. Powerful stuff.
Yeah. I mean, imagine that. Imagine dying and in the moments right before your death, like you enter oblivion. Um, you you think to yourself, I should have stayed in that abusive environment because
Yeah,
maybe things would have been different. Maybe
yeah.
my life could have played out differently. That's so tragic.
I know, right? But yeah, but he's a dog, so that's why he.
He's not just a dog, and I think that's actually part of what this film is telling us.
Yep.
Is that dogs are not merely dogs, and kappa are not merely kappa. Um, you know, Ku
And human
says near
just
the end
as
of the film
surface.
that humans have already taken the land and the sea. One day they'll take the sky and the sacred places, but in
Yep.
exchange they lose their souls.
Yep.
The film is a warning, I think.
Yeah, but not like all this negativity towards human was portrayed in the films, because we see at the heart of the story is this family who's, like treat Cools like, like some part of their families.
Yeah.
Um, I but to say that, I actually think that, like the way that the family decide that, like they would want Cruz to appear on TV was a bit, like using him, like
Yes.
it
Oh, absolutely. You see that the father is pressured into it at work.
yep, yep.
And you see that the way, like, the son is so excited to appear on television.
Yeah, that's right.
That's actually something I really liked about the film, was that it is not flattering in its portrayal of this head family.
Mm-hmm.
Koichi is rough. He's mean
Yep.
to his sister. The sister, he told me, she's selfish. She's envious.
Yep.
She's a schemer. The mom is vain. She's concerned with appearances, and she's
Mm-hmm.
fearful. And the dad
Yep.
is hesitant. He's not a great leader, and
Uh,
he has trouble at work.
yep.
There's a line somewhere in the film where he says that his job is like in danger.
Yep.
Uh,
I
none of these people are perfect, but they are, they do their best, and they do come to love Ku eventually, and he feels that, and he says, "It wasn't a coincidence that you found me. I'm sure that it was fated. I'm sure it was decided long ago."
mhm. I think this is just minor, but I get a sense of, like this film doesn't really treat women's with respect. That's just a minor lie for me. Note
It doesn't.
it doesn't, like many of the girls get bullied from the male counterparts. Like the sister, like you said, always got yelled at by Koichi,
That
and
doesn't mean that the characters aren't being treated with respect. That means that's the dynamic
eh,
between the brother and the sister.
yeah, well, and that girls that he had a crush on was getting bullied by, like by basically every boys.
That's just the dynamic between her and her
Right.
peers. Imagine if the genders were flipped. Would you say that if she were a boy, would you say that
Mm.
this film has a problem with male characters?
No, I don't. But because like some minor thing like that, like keeps stacking up in this film, so it just like personal for me. So like
She's a strong. What are you talking about? She's a strong character.
see,
She endures all that bullying and is still, able to talk with Koichi. She still is able to be vulnerable.
yeah, well,
She says thank you for talking to me, and then like that moment where she started crying and he was unable
yeah,
to comfort her, that
yeah,
I was like,
all right,
I was like, what are you doing?
yeah, well,
Put your hand on her shoulder, do something.
all right. Think it the other way. Like Koichi didn't really do anything to earn that, right? Before that,
What do you mean?
like 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 before they getting together, like they become friends. Before that, he got bullied out of his friends, so that he have no one else, and he talked to her instead.
Yeah.
Like you see the way that he treat her, like really bad.
Yes, yes. And he confesses that to Ku when he brings Ku over to her apartment
Yeah,
near
yeah.
the
So
end.
that come afterwards. Like
Yeah.
before that, he actually didn't do anything to earn that, to
Well,
earn
it's
that
no. I
friendship.
think you're looking at it the wrong way. It's not a matter of earning.
All right.
It's not. He doesn't have to earn her friendship.
Yep.
That's not how friendship works.
Mm-hmm. All right.
They find themselves together as outcasts, and
Yep.
as a
Yep.
result, they go closer. But it's not.
Yep.
It's not about
All right.
earning
Mm-hmm.
friendship. He
Mm-hmm.
learns. What he learns is that he was wrong. And the
All
only
right.
way that he does learn that, because he is a child and because he's so self-centered, is when he receives the same treatment. That's what educates him, when he is also outcast. As a result, he gains empathy.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's not an Okko type character, and I mean, I think this is the difference between the films, is that Okko's Inn views, even though Okko is put through the ringer in that film, the death of her parents is horrible, and she experiences the full weight of that, of their departure, once you get to that point in the film. But at the same time, Okko's character, I mean, as you said, she adapts to life at the inn very quickly. She is that sort of character. She's sort of an ideal child. No one in Summer Days with Ku is ideal. They're all flawed, and the presentation of the film, like the human characters, are somewhat ugly, and I think that's definitely on purpose. Yeah, like Koichi, all the ugliness of childhood is present
Yep.
in his
Yep.
character, and
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful, honestly, because a lot of children's films do create characters who are very good, who are like models of good
Unrealistic.
behavior. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they are unrealistic. Okko's Inn is an unrealistic film. It's one child out of 1,000 who will be able to do what Okko did in that situation, where she says to Kise-san, even, he says, "We have to go. I can't stay here." Knowing
Yep.
what I
Yep.
did to this girl's parents, we can't go. But she says, "No, please stay." It's one out of 10,000 kids who can do that.
Yep. I agree.
Whereas in Summer Days with Ku, it's 99 kids out of 100 who might do the bullying
Turn out to
that
be like
Koichi does.
Yep.
Yeah, to fit in with their peers, and then they would realize only when they receive the same treatment how Kikuchi might feel.
Yep.
So Summer Days with Ku, not an idealized story, although it is a story with a strong message.
Yep.
Of tolerance, and I think of environmental awareness,
Mhm.
and like a warning
Eh,
against obsession, a warning against ugliness, and
Yep.
you know,
Maybe racist
to
as
treat
well.
people and things with care.
Yep. How do you find cool the characters?
I love Ku.
Right. He's adorable.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, I love his antiquated method of speech. Oh, and that's something that I mentioned earlier, like during the Okozen segment. I wanted to talk about the fact that this film is bookended, because
Yep.
the
Yep.
first
Yep.
scene in this film is Ku and his father talking
Right.
about their plan, because he's gonna stop the humans on the road and beg them not to turn Dragon Swamp into a rice field.
Yep.
And the final scene in this film, he's talking to his father once again.
Yeah, that's right.
He's holding his father's arm, and before he wades into the river, he says a prayer to the spirit of the river, promising to catch only as many fish as he needs to survive. So the theme of that first scene, where his father is trying to preserve their swamp, Ku has taken to heart, and he's going to preserve this river. He's not going to take from it any more than he needs. He's only going to coexist with it.
Yep.
So there's the bookend. So I like Ku's character. I mean, I think he's like the most morally virtuous character in the story. I guess because he's not human.
Yeah, that's right. But he
How
can.
did you like him?
I really enjoy his characters. The fact that he can speak, the fact that he like express his feeling like really straightforward. The fact that like he feel like he owe the family for what the family does to him, so he repay that. So he just really good kid.
Yeah, yeah. He's more like Okko than any of the people in this film. He's the closest
Yeah, that's right.
to her level of like young maturity. Yeah, and he is good. You know, he understands. I think he understands on some level that Hitomi is jealous of him.
Hmm.
You know, of the attention that he receives, and he eats her snail. And even though he never, I don't think he ever apologizes. I can't remember if he ever says I'm sorry because I think that might be like a foreign concept to him. Snails are for eating, so why would he apologize?
Yeah.
However, he does understand that she's upset, and so when he goes on that trip with Koichi to the sea, to the ocean, and he finds
Hmm.
that piece of glass,
Yeah.
he picks it up with her in mind, you
Yeah.
know. So he's thoughtful, you know.
And
He's a thoughtful character.
I see that the film is really have fun with like dispatching Kappa's mythologies, like what they look like, what they hobby, what their favorite is, what food do they eat, like what activity do they enjoy. Kappa enjoys wrestling,
Yeah.
it's
Why
something
didn't we
really
get any sumo
unique.
wrestling in Sarazanmai?
Maybe we.
No, I don't think we did, and I'm saying why not? Like if that's part
Well,
of the Kappa lore, why didn't we get
no
any
no
sumo wrestling in?
I'm just thinking about the dance, the kappa dance. Do they have like some wrestling in there? Maybe not.
I don't remember.
Right.
I don't remember, but I do remember. Yeah, the Kappa dance.
Yeah. 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 Well. Yeah. So the show really have fun doing that, and yeah, I think like out of all the characters, Cruz have like the most personality, and I think it speaks to the message of the film as well.
I think Hitomi probably has the most personality if we're talking about like sheer quantity of emotion. She's just she's
And
always jealous. She's always upset.
yep.
You know, she's always being a little brat. But that's how little sisters are like that sometimes. Little brothers are like that sometimes. People are like that sometimes.
Yep. Yep.
And she's the younger one, so perhaps in their family, uh, Koichi has gotten more of the, despite the fact that she's younger, maybe he's gotten more of the attention, and she's acting out for that reason.
Nah.
Um,
She just try to get the attention from the mom because
yeah.
like
Oh yes, of course.
because every time that she wants something, she will ask mom.
Yeah.
Every time when she want to validate something, she will ask mom. So that
Right.
must be that mom had been spoiling her a lot. So
Yeah. Well,
I
it may be like that kind of traditional thing where
yeah
the mom sides with the daughter and the dad sides with the son.
yeah. Well, I actually
Um,
love that dynamic. It come really natural, and you see like all the dynamic between the members of the family.
yeah. Or you're talking about in this film in particular, not in general.
Oh, I talk about this film in particular. Yes, the Uehara's family in particular.
Yeah, they do seem to be a pretty traditional family. Like
Yep.
no one of them is
Mm.
like some sort of paragon.
Yeah.
The dad is not the perfect and wise,
Yep.
leader of the household. The mom is not the graceful and beautiful and patient and understanding matriarch.
Yep.
There just isn't a character like that in this film.
Yep. Yep.
I really love the moment where he told me like the mom prepared a bag for Ku because it was almost time for him to leave. Like he
Yep.
want this was before I think he decided he wanted to leave, but he wanted
Yep.
to carry his father's arm with him, so she made
Hmm.
that bag. And then
Yep.
he told me, of course, she was jealous of that, and the mom had already made one for her. I thought that was so sweet. And she goes and
Yep.
gets her little piece of glass
Yep.
from behind the the sofa cushion, and I just like
Yep.
flash back to my childhood hiding stuff there. I think this film really
Yeah.
understands children. Uh,
Yeah. That's right.
even though
I
it doesn't, the kids aren't cute and they're not well mannered, I think it does understand children.
Yep. Yeah. I just love the fact that she hide her precious things. Like inside some corner that she think that like no one else could find.
Yeah, that
Love
right. That's
that.
her place.
Yeah. Love that.
Uh, yeah, and I mean she's the last one to come around to Ku. For a long time, she hates him.
Yep. Hmm.
But eventually, like
It,
eventually, I can't remember what the moment was exactly where. I guess
I
it was
think
the
that
moment where he gave her the stone, the piece of glass, where she kind of
that's
came
right.
around
That's
to him.
right. Yep.
But then when he mentioned that it was time for him to leave, when that was like when that day was approaching, she and the rest of the family is preparing to, get him packed up in his little box, which I thought that was so weird.
Yep.
She runs into that hallway and says, "Kuno baka."
Yep.
Uh, she doesn't know how to process what she's feeling, so she just calls him an idiot. Which
Yep.
I'm sure what she's doing is she's reflecting, what her brother has done to her.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
she's
Yep.
acting out in the same way.
Yep. Yep.
And then when they're at the station or wherever it is they are, she says, "Are you going to come?" You know,
Yeah.
I guess only Koichi goes to the station, but she says, "When will you come back and visit us?"
Yep.
And I thought for sure, he was going to say, "This is goodbye," but instead he says, "I will come back," and I don't know.
When.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know when. Yeah, he says that, and I was shocked by that actually. Um, but that actually made me reconsider. Like I stopped and I thought, I paused the film because I was taking notes during it. Um, I stopped and I thought, why is that shocking to me? Why don't we see more films in this vein where the character who's leaving says, I'll come back. I don't know when, but
Yeah.
sure, I'd like to see you again because I love you.
Yeah.
Um, and that that's not vocalized here, but I think that's certainly the implication. Uh, why don't we see more of that? I wonder. I
Well,
wonder.
it depends on the circumstances. Here it because Ku is not belong to the human world, so he have to live. But their fondness to each other, their relationship to each other remain the same. So that's why out of everything, out of the feeling that they have for each other, Ku will come back to meet them, but they are not together to like living together anymore. So I can understand why he said that and why it makes sense in this context.
Right.
For other films, like This Is Goodbye is more like uh yeah, something stupid going on. They can do that, but
Yeah.
they decide not to. So
Yeah. Yeah.
understandable.
It's uncommon.
Yep.
And I mean, you're right. The film that like the human fascination with the kappa and the dangers posed to the kappa by like their curiosity and their obsession and their development of the earth. They're not so severe that he can't come back.
Yeah,
Like the
that's right.
path is clear for him, and he even in the last scene where he encounters the the yokai, the oni, whatever he is, the demon.
Hmm.
He says, I can teach you. The best way to hide from humans is to become one, to
Yep.
blend in with them.
Hmm.
Um, so perhaps that's how he'll make his way back to the family.
I doubt it
But
though. I doubt it that he have that special ability to camouflage himself as a human.
yeah, maybe. I mean, kappa are humanoid creatures to begin with. Like they have the same
Um.
genitals, and that's addressed in this film. Like when the TV producers like, no, we can't show that.
Yep.
And you can see when he walks
Yep.
around, he has that little, he's got a
Yep. Yep.
little
Yep.
ball sack and a little tiny chin chin.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think he's
and they walk.
great. Yeah, but
You what?
he can speak the human language. So
Yeah, I mean he's a very humanoid creature. He walks upright. He has the same
yeah,
sort of organs,
yeah.
um, hands, feet.
Mhm. Eyes.
Yeah, he does have a little weird little dish on his head.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh man, I love the scene where he like hopped out of the water and all the stuff having to do with his dish and like
yeah,
his uh his water powers. Like the scene where they put alcohol in his dish and he got drunk immediately.
yeah. And he just
I
dance
love that.
along. I love that. Yeah, and
Yeah, he does a little rain dance, I
and
think.
when he drink it, oh sorry, when he's swimming in the on the beach, and then he just got
Right.
like on the salty water like in inside disc.
Yeah. And he hops out. He's like, there can't be any fish in there.
Yeah,
That was yeah. He's a child. He's in some ways he's wise. He has a different perspective than human
Mhm.
beings do. But in other ways, he's a kid. Like he doesn't know what's going on. He's never seen the ocean,
Yep.
and his experience of water. And I mean, he's lived in water his whole life. Then he goes to the ocean and he's like, oh, there can't be any fish in there. Like that kind of salty water can't sustain life. It's just so interesting how innocent and naive he is, but also the kind of perspective that he has,
Yep.
the more mature perspective.
Right.
Well, I like this film a lot.
All right. I think you probably like it more than me. I
Yeah,
prefer Okko much more than Summer Day with Goose.
yeah. But I did think that both films were good, and usually when we do one of these double headers, I come away thinking that one was clearly better
Yep.
than the other. And I actually do think
Yep.
that Days with Ku, like in my opinion, is clearly better than Oko's In. But I think both films are
Mhm.
good.
Yep.
Um,
I can.
sometimes I hate one and like the other.
Yep. I can see that. I think like structure wise, Cool is more like they're having a message. I would
No,
say
I think
like
Oko's In has the much clearer message. I mean, there's a moral that
hmm,
Oko says out loud multiple times.
right, right.
Summer Days with Ku is a more traditional film, I think, in that it doesn't have that segmented structure to it.
Yep. Yep.
And it's kind of it's like a coming of age story. Oko's In is as well, I suppose.
Mhm.
But Summer Days with Ku, like it begins. Well, it begins it's set in the past, in the samurai era. He witnesses his father's murder, but it begins with Koichi, finding him, and then he is quote unquote born,
Mhm.
when he's brought back to life with the water, and then he grows up, and it's more Campbellian, I guess. Like he undergoes the hero's journey, kind of.
Mhm.
Ku does, I should say.
Yep.
And then so he enters the human world, the present, I suppose. He gets what he can from it. He undergoes some sort of change, and then he leaves.
Mhm.
Um, I have a question though about the ending. Like, so he's sent in a box through the mail service, the
Yep.
postal service.
Mhm.
Why does he end up here? Why did they send him here? How did they know
Because
about
of the
this place?
address.
What?
I think because of the address, like they clearly say the address was like that that's our place, so they just like deliver them to that address.
Who says the address?
All right, that
Oh, the mail. Yes, Ku gets a letter. It wasn't written by a human. Oh, okay.
yep,
That slipped my mind.
yep, yep. So I think that
So I
was the address.
guess
Yeah.
because of the national attention he received, like on television and stuff, I guess this demon, this yokai, saw him and sent him the message.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Okay, I hadn't put that together for some reason. And there's a very clear clue when Ku says it wasn't written by a human being.
Yep, yep. He did say that at the end, like the yokai did say that. They say that like when I saw you on the television, I think it's a I think I need to do something.
Okay.
Yeah, he did say that.
Okay.
So he'd reach out.
Whoops. I mean, I'm gonna play defense for myself here. The subs that I was working with were not great
All right.
for this film.
Huh.
They
That's is a
they
shame.
did you have? I mean, they were okay. You know, I followed the film and I enjoyed it nonetheless. Like for me, the quality of the subtitles for a film will actually greatly impact
Yep.
my enjoyment. For example, Hyogemono had two different subgroups,
Yep.
and I preferred the beginning much, 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 much more
All right.
than the end.
I just find the beginning really really hard for me to follow. Like
Yes,
I
it
fall out
did
of the story
use.
so many times.
Yeah, that's the thing about the subs for Hyogemono is they use like very antiquated old English
Yep.
to represent the fact that they're speaking very formal Japanese.
Mhm.
And the second subgroup used more traditional English.
Which for me is much better.
Right. Yeah. 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 And yeah, definitely more decipherable. But I really like the flavor.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So where this film is concerned, there were a lot of names that were not capitalized.
All right.
Oftentimes the capital I, like the pronoun
Yep.
first person
Yep.
I, was replaced with the numeral 1. The
Huh.
number 1 was in its place. It was weird, and there were some misspellings and things, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, I really liked it, and the visuals I thought it was
Oh.
directed very well. Actually, there were a lot of shots that put Ku off to one side of the frame or the other,
Mhm.
where he would look out. Like for example, when he was on Tokyo Tower,
Mhm.
the half of the frame, so the bottom and the right hand side, were bordered by beams of Tokyo Tower, and you saw Ku in the lower right hand corner looking out over the city.
Yep.
Or, for example, when he made it to the yokai's house, and we got like a low angled shot of him looking out from I guess the porch,
Mhm.
and seeing how blue the sky was and like the treetops.
Yep.
There were a lot of films that just let Ku or another character exist, like kind of within the space, like giving most of the frame to the environment and letting the character be a part of it.
Mhm.
I thought there were a lot of really strong, like screenshotable moments, I guess I would say.
All right. Two things. First is the subtitle. For some reason, like my video, I have like the Vietnamese subtitle. For some reason, I don't know why. And
Really?
I watched it for the first 5 minutes, and then I just say, nah, I will look up for the English one. My English subtitle was really it was good. It doesn't have any of these problems that you just mentioned. It
Okay.
doesn't have any of like like grammatical errors or anything.
Did you get it from Ya?
No. Actually, I got the video from some place. I don't remember now. It must be from a long time ago. The subtitle I
Oh,
just
you
looked
already
it up.
had the file.
I already had the file. The, s-
Okay.
the subtitle I just downloaded online from OpenSub.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to watch this film again someday, and I'm gonna look for good subtitles when I do.
Yeah. I can send you that subtitle if whenever you want to rewatch it that I
Sure.
have.
Sounds
Um,
good.
and second, I while I agree with you about the direction, like screenshot wise, there is a segment where I saw that the production values were really off.
What was that?
When the boys trying to bully uh our main characters with the girls. So like at
Yeah, that was actually the low point visually of the film for me. Specifically, the
yep.
cut where Koichi was like sitting on top of him and was grabbing his shirt and like
Yeah
kind of picking
yeah
him up and putting him back down onto the ground. That was very
you
weak.
you don't see any impact at all.
Yeah.
You don't see like the poor guy just like screaming without seeing the
Yeah, it just
impact.
looks like he's pulling his shirt a little bit.
Right.
It doesn't
Right.
look like anything violent is happening.
Yep. Yep.
So somebody fell asleep, I guess, when they were compiling, like in the final edit. They were like, "Oh yeah, this is fine. Just
Yeah.
Ship it. I
Well,
don't
we
care.
we we don't have any time. All right, just do it. This is
Yeah, that
important
was
part.
pretty. It
Yeah.
was important because he was sticking up for Kikuchi,
Yep.
in a very real way, instead of just like kind of passively getting to know her as a result of their mutual alienation.
Yep.
He was actively defending her and himself, I suppose.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's too bad.
Yep.
But I do think that, I mean, I like the character designs quite a bit. I'm getting kind of tired of anime character designs, to be honest.
Hmm.
So if I see anything that is going to challenge that traditional look, the big eyes and the
Yep.
round heads and blah
Yep.
blah blah,
Yep.
I'm probably gonna be a fan.
Right. All right. I think it's time for us to get into Pluto.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll try to do it quickly. We went a little bit long,
All
had
right.
some technical difficulties.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Um, how you find this volume? Like we got like the real, the antagonist now, the real identity of
Do
the
we?
artist. That's a
Do
good.
we?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Maybe that
I
this
actually
all
find
just
it kind
red
of
herring. Yeah,
yeah.
go on.
I mean, Urasawa could do whatever he wants. Like within the last 2 or 3 chapters, he could be like, "But this person was the true villain the whole time."
Yeah, yeah,
I think it is a little suspicious that like 3 or 4 times now, Gesicht has identified Abra as the villain. He's said like it was Abra, it was Professor Abra to
yep.
multiple people. Um,
Hmm.
but we still have
True.
2 volumes left, bro. Like,
Yep.
what do you mean Abra did it?
Yeah. That is true. And we saw the identity of the guy, of like the memory of the guy who's standing like in the field of flowers at the end of volume
Sahad.
five. Sahad.
Yes. So he's Abra's son.
Yep.
And one thing that was confusing to me during this chapter, which eventually I got worked out, but
Yep.
like Sahad left Holland to go back to Persia when the war started because he had heard that his father had died.
That's right. Yep.
But Abra, but he hadn't.
Yep. He
That
lost
was
most of his body except for maybe his face or his mind.
right. Well, we see there's a flashback, and this was also a little bit perplexing to me. There's a flashback where we see, Sahad has come back to Persia. He meets his father. He's like, "Thank God you're alive." And then Abra says to him, "Let me borrow your brain and put it inside this body."
Yep.
This
Yep.
is where we see like the Pluto's body, I suppose, suspended in that black liquid.
Yep.
He says, "So let me use your brain." And then he turns to his son, and like his face gets all these little digital marks all over it. And he says,
Yep.
"Sahad, I love you." But if he needed his son's brain to operate this robot, why is he transforming in that scene? I don't
Because
understand what the purpose of us seeing his robot features there was. Wasn't he about to get into the robot or something? Because
I
he had all those marks on
may,
his face.
all right. I think he might using his superpower as a robot thingy in order to obtain brain to take the brain from his son into
Oh, so what he was doing there, you think, was activating whatever ability he has to take his son's consciousness?
yeah or chips because his son is supposed to be a robot as well, right?
Right.
To
Yeah, yeah.
yeah to the thing.
Okay. I gotcha. All right. That actually is very helpful. Thank you.
Mm.
That
Um.
kind of clears up the
Yeah.
the whole deal. Like how Sahad is now Pluto or something.
Yeah. Or maybe not because we
Right.
we're not even so sure about that. But one thing for sure is that Yesik know about his past now, and he want to get like proper punishment out of that. So he resigned. He and basically like at the end of this volume he's dead. I don't remember
Yeah.
why though.
No, we don't know exactly how he was killed. In chapter 46, he's confronted by um, Ali, the flower
Oh yeah,
selling
yeah, yeah.
robot.
Ye-
Um, and at first, honestly, I thought at first that Ali was his son in disguise.
I
Because remember, he
ye-
remembers his son, and he has that kind of square looking head,
yep.
and Ali has kind of a similar looking headpiece behind his more
Yeah.
modern. But then I did a comparison, and Ali is not actually his son.
All right. Because I thought the same. I thought like I think that's were his son, and that he just forgot it about that. He have like his memory erased out that, but now he realized that that was his son. I think that was his son.
I don't think it was because I compared the shape of the sun in Gesic's memory
Mm-hmm.
with the little bit of the older robot that you can see behind Ali's head,
All right.
and they don't match. So I
Hmm.
think it's just Urasawa, and this is actually something Urasawa really loves to do. Is he loves to match, like match cut, someone's memory of something with something that's occurring in the present that looks very similar.
Right.
He actually does that earlier in this volume, and I wrote a note about it. Let's see if I can find it. It was it was about an arm reaching out. I remember that much. So one of the scenes is Gesicht encountering Pluto in like underneath that field of tulips,
Yep.
like in the basement,
Uh
in
huh.
the tunnels, and we see Pluto's arm like reaching out towards Gesicht to capture him. And then there was some sort of match cut. I can't remember what the other one was.
Two. All right.
Damn, what was it?
I don't remember actually. I'm trying to.
Oh yes, I have it now. Hoffman's security robot.
Oh, right.
When Hoffman, the doctor, is in the elevator, the
Yep.
scientist,
Mm-hmm.
and the security robot, like you realize that he's been taken over by Pluto, and he reaches for Hoffman.
All right. Mm-hmm.
So in that moment, both Gesicht and Hoffman are under threat, and both of their enemies are reaching out using their arm in the same angle,
Yep.
and there are matching panels.
Uh huh.
So I think that's what he was doing in that scene with Ali. So
Yep.
yeah, you were talking about like we don't know exactly how he dies, right? How
Yep.
Gesicht dies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was Ali who shot him because even though we see that gun on his arm smoking,
Yep.
I don't think he fired it.
Hmm. All right. Nah, I don't think he doing that either.
Yeah, I don't. There was like on the back of Gesicht's coat, like when he falls forward, and it's raining, and you see the back of his coat because he's lying on the ground. There's a big
Yep.
blood stain on the back of his jacket. There's a really dark spot, but robots don't
Mm.
bleed, do they? In this universe?
Um. Maybe if yeah. Well. Maybe if it gets six, it's like different story. I have no idea. I have
Yeah.
no
Oh,
idea.
that could be. It could be that like he essentially has the replica of a human body, like
Yeah.
even internally. But that would be
Yeah.
so complicated to make.
That's
Like the
right.
human circulatory system, like scientists don't even totally understand how our bodies work so
Yep.
perfectly, like how our systems are all balanced the way that they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like either it really comes down to whether you believe it was like an evolutionary freak accident or whether we were
Mm-hmm.
created. Um, Either way, it's our bodies are like so perfectly balanced that it's it's wild.
Yep.
Um, so I don't know if it would be possible to create a robot even in this future. I don't know if it would be possible to create a robot that has all the same internal systems that we do, like
All right.
biologically.
All right. So
Anyway, yeah,
yeah.
we don't know how Gesick died.
So a question for you though. How do you think the story gonna go from here?
I have no idea.
Because now like the
Don't
main
ask me.
character, the main character is gone. The second main character that we supposed to think that like gonna be alive and well is Adam, and he's was gone as well.
Oh, you know what I think is going to happen?
All right, they gonna
Tenma is
revive Adam.
yes. Tenma is going to revive Adam using the memory chip that Helena gave him.
All right.
Using Gesik's consciousness, his memories,
Wow.
he will revive Adam without putting all those negative feelings into him because Gesik has killed. He's experienced human emotion, like he's committed murder. Um,
Yep.
so it may be that just that fact, the fact that Gesik is like the one robot on Earth who was
The
able to break his programming, I suppose. Well, the second, because
the second.
Brow
Yep.
15, yeah, Brow has also
Hmm.
done it.
Hmm.
Um,
That interesting. Hmm.
but Gesik, perhaps his experience, his like experience of like humanity or close to it, will be enough to trigger Adam's awakening. Because
Oh,
there must be some significance to the fact that it's Tenma who meets Helena.
yeah. That's
That
right.
must be why she's in Japan
Yep. That's
to
right.
to meet up with him.
All right. Yeah. I think that's a really acceptable, like a really logical, theory. Um, how how do you think the fact that when Yesik meet Pluto, um, he mentioned the fact that Pluto doesn't really have any intention to kill him. But what we see so far is that Pluto trying to fight like every single one of the robots to kill them. Remember
Yeah, I
that?
don't think that's Pluto's intention though. I think that's Abra's intention.
Right.
At least based on what we know right now. I mean, the teddy bear guy. Do you remember where the teddy
Yep.
bear shows up?
Yep. Yep.
Where was that? The end of chapter what?
Well, he says a bullshit thing about G6.
Yeah, right. Let me see here. I must have written it down.
I think it's like the first few volumes. Sorry, the first few chapters.
Oh, I just saw the word teddy bear. Okay, yeah. Oh, wow. Chapter 41. I thought it was nearer to the end of the volume, but yeah,
Right.
that's near the start of volume 6.
Yep.
Um, yeah. I mean, the teddy bear is obviously representative of some greater conspiracy or something. So I don't think that Abra is actually the ultimate villain.
Hmm.
And
It's
there. Oh,
it's the
you know
teddy
what?
bear.
Sorry. Go ahead.
It's the teddy
Yeah.
bear. All
Well,
right.
I think at this point it's been established that the teddy bear is somehow connected to the United States of Thracia and whatever their political
Yep.
motives are in this whole plot.
All right.
So I'm pretty sure like just the U.S. government is the is the ultimate villain, as they are in
Yay.
real life.
Yay.
Um,
How about Epsilon? How about like the fate of her him?
what do you mean her
Be-
fate?
because like every single one of them have died except for Epsilon.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. We do check in with Epsilon in this volume. We see the
Yep.
funeral for Doctor
Yep.
something Newton Howard, something like that.
Yep. Yep.
Ronald Newton Howard. Yeah. Um, and we see it's not so much about Epsilon though. It's more about Abra because Abra is the one who's visiting him, and we see Abra like crying at that
Yep.
funeral for the loss of his son.
Mm.
Um, so I don't know. I don't know how important Epsilon is going to be in the last two volumes.
Yep.
I assume that Pluto will come for her, and there will be some sort of fight. Because as a pacifist character, Epsilon, the last thing Epsilon wants to do is fight. So
Yeah.
I assume that like her arc in this manga is going to involve like, being confronted by a force that will, force her into action.
Hmm. Interesting. All right. Yeah.
But there was something else that I was just reminded of that I wanted to bring up. Yes, it was okay. So when what's his face when I
All
think it's
right.
when Hoffman maybe
All
is
right.
attacked when he's being attacked by his security robot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Interpol agent who's overseeing the operation, like the rescue operation,
Mm-hmm.
says fire, and one of the field agents says, "But I might hit Hoffman." You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
I might hit him, and the guy the Interpol agent says that will solve everything,
Hmm.
as though Hoffman is a problem. Like it's okay to risk hitting him, because if you hit him and if you take out Hoffman by mistake
Mhm.
or even on purpose, I don't know, that would solve their problems, because Hoffman is the one who's created Gesicht.
Mhm.
So he perhaps has some information about Gesicht, um, and that they don't want coming to light because they've erased Gesicht's memory, and we still don't know everything that Gesicht remembered. Like the way that Gesicht recovers his memory is actually very vague.
Uh, yeah. All right. How did he remember that? It just because I think he remembered the moment that he killed the man.
Yeah, but we don't see him flash back to it in particular, and we don't see him flash back to his son in particular. He just remembers,
Yeah, that's right.
and
So,
we're not really a part of that process as
yep.
the audience. That's Gesicht's own. So there must be information that Gesicht has, probably relating to that the guy with the old man with the hat who says it'll be 500 Zeus for each one.
Yeah, I think that was from my theory. I think that he's selling this kit, like the orphanage robot, and that they Gesick and his wife just buy their son, the kid from the guy.
Right.
That's what my theory is.
Yeah, I mean that sounds reasonable to me. And something about his son, I think, if that's the case, it's something about the child that they had together that is the crux of this whole mystery, because
Yeah.
that's the truth that Interpol doesn't. That's the truth that they erase from his memory.
Yep.
That's the truth that they don't want uncovered.
And
Um, and
yeah,
Hoffman
we don't know
knows
if
that
Hawkman
Gesick's
know about
memory
that.
has been tampered with.
Yep. I don't know.
So
I don't know if Hoffman knows that they have the children already.
he
He.
probably doesn't, but Interpol is afraid that he might figure it out,
Yep.
which is why they were
Mhm.
okay with friendly fire being an option.
Right.
That's why he used the phrase "that will solve everything."
Yep. Yep. Hmm.
So Interpol, their hands are actually dirty in this
Yep.
story,
Yep.
and that's, I assume that, like, maybe the teddy bear is like the head of Interpol or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, this volume, we know that Gesicht recovered his memories, but not being privy to those thoughts means that we are still largely in the dark. Like at this point, we actually might know more about Abra than we do about Gesicht.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I think that's something that the next two volume, the last two volume, gonna address. But I think this is a pretty good direction, a pretty interesting direction that you mentioned, that they might put Gesick memory into Adam in order for him to wake up. I think that is sound really like doable.
Yeah, and that would also be a device by which we could discover what Gesicht's memories are, because if
Right.
Adam receives them and wakes up,
Yep.
then through Adam's eyes or through his circuits, then
Yep.
we can experience, then we can learn what it is about Gesicht that we're missing.
Yep. Actually, like Adam aware of that. Remember, like in the beginning, where Jessica shares some memory to Adam, and he cries.
Yes, I remember that. They were in the restaurant. Adam was in the bathroom, I
Yep.
think.
Yep. Yep. So
But
I don't know
did we
if
not
it.
learn what that memory was at that time? What triggered
No,
those tears?
no, we don't. Adam just say like you poor things. So maybe he cried for the fact that like he know that his memory was tampered with.
Right. Or the fate of his son, Gesicht's
Yep.
son.
Yep. So yep. So we still have like one, a no factor here, and
Yeah.
and we're reaching like the end of the story now. Like only two volume left.
Yeah. I mean, we have some of the puzzle pieces. Like we have an antagonist who seems to be the major antagonist at the moment,
Yep.
Abra.
Yep.
We have a mystery that we know has to be solved, which is what Gesicht's memories are.
Yep.
We have a reasonable theory as to how Adam will wake up and how Gesicht ties into that.
Yep. Yep.
So we have some But we still don't know the true nature of Pluto,
No, we don't.
right?
Yeah, at the moment we don't. Yep.
So what was that actually Pluto that what's his face that Gesicht encountered in the underground tunnel?
Yeah, maybe because that's supposed to be Pluto who like just fire off Hercules, and that he hiding in there. So it's supposed to be
Right, he has
Pluto.
to recover.
Yep.
I can't remember whose theory that is. Epsilon's theory, maybe. I can't
That
remember who said that in this volume that Pluto would be like in hiding, that he would be healing his wounds or whatever,
I think that gets
getting
sick.
repaired.
I think that gets sick,
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't know like who hinted that to get sick.
Right. Um,
I don't remember.
yeah,
There's
me neither.
a lot of characters.
Might have been at the start
Yeah.
when he goes to the bazaar and he meets Abra there. Oh, it might have been Abra who hinted at it because
Nah.
guess in the very first chapter of this volume, that's something we haven't talked about. Gesicht meets with Abra.
Yep. But Abra say that he doesn't know this guy. He doesn't know Sahad.
Right. He finds out about Sahad from the from Ali, the kid, the robot.
The robot. That's right. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Me neither.
I still don't remember. All right. Let's just forget about it.
Good idea. So I think where the story is, we can sense, I guess, that it's coming to a conclusion soon.
Yeah.
Although I don't, I mean, honestly, I don't know if I would be able to say that with confidence. Like if I, for example, if I didn't know how many chapters there were,
Yeah. Yeah. True.
if I didn't know there were only two more volumes, this might be just the beginning. Like even though most of the seven greatest robots in the world are dead,
Yeah.
even though we now know Abra's true intentions, or we think we do,
Yeah.
um, the story could, you know, it could evolve. It's not as though it's reached a point where the final showdown is like right around the corner.
That's right. One thing that I realized though that like all the six of them have been dead, but only two of them, that is Gesik and Adam, who's like the whole body is still there. Like for Brando, for Hercules, for North number two, I think they all like their body are all shut around to the point
Right.
that like you can't really recover anything. So it could
So
be
yeah, who else was there? Brando, Heracles,
Mont Blanc.
North number two. Oh yes, Mont Blanc. Yes.
Yeah.
Did we actually see Mont Blanc get attacked, or was
No,
he the
no.
first to die? And that
He's
was like
he's the first to die, like
okay,
off screen. So
right. So that was just like a news bulletin. That
yeah,
was the first murder, the one that kicked this off.
yep, yep,
Right. Yeah, and that makes sense because Mont Blanc was like the best or the most beloved, maybe
yep.
robot. Like he was a hero to everyone, robots and humans alike.
hmm So
Hmm.
maybe my point maybe they Gesik and Atom was not killed by Pluto or some other method. So not really
Right.
sure.
Well, Adam, how I can't remember exactly how Adam, quote unquote, dies. I remember
Um,
he's with Ochanomizu's grandson at their home,
yep, yep.
right?
And there's like the
And he
tornado
sees the
coming.
tornado.
Yep.
Does he fly into it?
He fly to it. He fight. I think he have like a brief fight against it, and then like just like that he was gone.
Yeah, I think he was transmitting to the other robots, and then all of a sudden his transmission cut out or something,
Right.
something like that.
Yep.
That could have actually I could have that in reverse. It could have been that like Heracles was transmitting, and then his transmission cut out, and then Adam like got a small snippet of it that was a different emotion. I think I'm remembering that now.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, but in any case, yeah, it must be significant that Adam and Gesicht, their bodies are still intact because it allows the transfer of the chip from one to the other, which
Yeah.
will probably happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it will happen. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. All right.
We good?
Yep. You want to wrap up this podcast?
Sure. Let's wrap it up. This has been episode 110 of the Double Cross Anime Podcast.
Yep.
We're doing every other week, so the next time you'll hear from us is on the 20th, I guess.
Right.
20th of September, and we're going to be talking about 2 OVA series, both directed by Akiyuki Shinbo.
Yep.
One being Les Portraits de Petite Cosette, and the other Tenemonia Voyagers.
That's some good French pronunciation there.
Yeah, I like trying to pronounce things correctly, like in their actual language and dialect.
Yep. And we also
For whatever reason.
Yep. Go on.
And then what were you going to say also? Like Volume 7 of Pluto?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. That'll be the second to last one. So even more mysteries will be resolved and created, probably.
That's right. I almost about to say that, like more questions will come.
Yeah. Questions will be answered. Even more questions will be asked.
Yeah, that's right. So
So,
looking
stick around.
forward.
We'll see you then.
Yep. All right. See you guys soon.